Hello, I'm Karen of Hazel Blue Acres in Silvana near Arlington, and welcome everyone that's here at the farm. Blueberry season has begun, and I'm really excited to welcome people back to the farm again. This is our first fresh blueberry season recipe of the summer, and we're out in the picnic shed. Hopefully you can hear me. We are making bakery-style blueberry muffins, and can you believe it? I have never made blueberry muffins for a demonstration. I guess I had found a recipe that I really liked, and I thought was very consistent. So we're doing that now, and we have the Rika variety right now. And I liked them in these muffins, but I think I might like Liberty even better, but I've got to wait till August to make those because they have a little zing to them, and it's not an overly sweet muffin. It's a really nice texture and a really nice, just like the topping has more of the sweet in it. So, and basically all I need is my whisk, so that's kind of perfect for meeting out here in the picnic shed. So we've got a few little sections. We're going to be making the muffins, and then we'll make our chocolate sweet. So we have melted already a half cup of, this calls for unsalted butter, and a pinch of salt, a little bit later. But I've made it with salted butter, and it tasted delicious. So this is just kind of close to the recipe. I always tweak my recipes a little bit, as you know. But so this has been through a few little transformations over the time of making it. But pretty tasty. So your half cup of first, oven is going to be heated to 425 at first, and then in later the recipe you'll turn it down a little bit. So oven heated to 425, and then I like to use liners for this, but you don't have to. The first time I made it with regular cupcake papers, and this pooched over the top. I had a lot of muffin tops there, and they may have been tasty, but it wasn't the presentation I was shooting for. So you can also make it 12 regular muffins, or if you have one of these pans, you can try it with 6 of the jumbo muffins. And I think maybe it says, I think you'd want to cook it a little bit longer, because even with these, you have to adjust for your oven a little bit and test them with the cupcake and make sure that they're through and through in the middle. So I used some tall cupcake papers. I got these online. Hopefully you can see that on the video. And they're kind of fun. They came in a mix of colors. But a long time ago, I found some fun papers at the dollar store that I've been wanting to use for something. These are blue, of course, with some little white dots. So today, we're going to try that. But I'm only going to put them in right before we do it because we have a nice breeze right here. So you don't need people chasing the cupcake papers. Okay, so 425-degree oven. Line your muffin pan, large or small, and then in this bowl I have half cup or 1 cube, kind of standard cube of butter melted, and then the next thing will be 1 cup of just white granulated sugar, and you can whisk that together. So do that just till it's nice and combined. Doesn't take too long, and then we'll add our eggs. That's 2 eggs that will be going in there, and that's the one where I'll have a little strengthening of my stirring on a little bit, but not very much. It says, does anyone have a clock you can time me for about 2 minutes? I always find something. So that's the butter and sugar just combined. 2 eggs. We do sell farm fresh eggs, but guess what? I sold them all. People, if I only have 3 little eggs in the fridge, people want to buy them, so I can sell them by the piece. All right, so that's 2 eggs, and then for 2 minutes, 2 to 3 your recipe says, but I found 2 minutes. It reminds me of, this recipe reminds me of like the Betty Crocker or the Better Homes and Gardens, where it says mix for this long, and that's because they've tested it, and these are room temperature eggs. Your butter's melted, and there's that 11 things. Next comes buttermilk, and that temperature as well. So, going 2 minutes. Well, I've got a few little chips. You can use it on carrot flakes, you can use it for fish, chicken, those kind of things. So it's yummy. The other thing is, on Thursday night, if you have not had an opportunity to sign up and you are a yoga person, my dear sister-in-law, Mary Golden, who is an instructor at Quantum Health Yoga in Burlington, she's going to be leading a yoga class. And so there's still time to reserve your spot if you want to. What else is coming up? Oh, on July 30th, there's going to be Blueberry Story Time with me. Some of my favorite classics. Blueberries for Sal. There is someone timing me, isn't there? Yes. Oh, 2 minutes? I hit it? All right. Blueberries for Sal. The Blueberry Pie Elf, which I received from my fun friend, Mrs. Dixon, the book collector. And then a little blueberry shoe. So it's going to be fun. All right, so that's mixed, and now you're going to add the rest of the wet ingredients. So a cup of buttermilk. And I have, the real deal here, but you certainly can use the trick of milk with some vinegar or lemon juice. You do not have to have it be perfect buttermilk purchased from the store. Buttermilk, vanilla, a tablespoon of that. That was 1 cup of buttermilk. Tablespoon of delicious vanilla. Then comes our sour cream, a 1/4 cup. That's a room temperature. Did I miss a room temperature? Room temperature buttermilk, room temperature sour cream, eggs. I think that it just wants it to really cook evenly, not having to work to chill with like frozen berries or cold eggs, that kind of thing. All right. One more thing. Keep track of it, people. Boil. 2 tablespoons of neutral oil. I just used canola oil. You can try it if you just like vegetable oil. And just maybe if you use olive oil, it's not as neutral, and it's got strong flavor. But there is such a thing as olive oil cake, right? So, right, I have all my wet ingredients, and then I just keep on whisking. Whisk that in until it's well combined.
Karen, what's the benefit of having everything room temperature?
That's so like when the oven is heated, it's not having to make up for cold things in there and to try and get them to cook in the amount of time.
Oh, okay.
Because I have had it be where I put frozen berries in just straight out of the freezer, and it took longer for something like a cake to bake or oven or muffins, that kind of thing. So just make sure that everything is a nice warm temperature that cooks.
Okay.
It's only 15-ish minutes that's in there. Yeah. So if I put frozen blueberries in there or cold eggs and milk, it would take definitely long. Good question. That is benefit of having room temperature ingredients. So thanks for that.
Now I can sleep at night.
There you go.
Oh, question was asked about using avocado oil. I'd say try it. See what you think, because it's not a strong flavor, but this person just suggested using neutral oil. So, in this bowl, I have 2.5 cups of flour, just regular old flour, and it would be fun to try with gluten-free flour. A lot of people that come here to the farm eat gluten-free, so give it a try. It's not, a ton to go through. And then, after the flour, I combined it in here since we're in the wind. 2 teaspoons of baking powder and a 1/2 teaspoon of soda. And you'll see some of it went in the roux. And then combine that. I just use a little whisk, use a little fork, whatever you've got on hand to combine your flour with your baking powder and baking soda. And then a little pinch of salt. Because I did indeed use the unsalted butter, but I don't know how much work, how much difference a pinch of salt can make. But all right, there we go. I'll get that combined pretty well. Start, and then I'm going to remove this whisk because I don't want to get my blueberries stuck in there just yet. I've got a spatula. Actually, I'm going to whisk a little bit and the blueberries. All right, so we've got our dry ingredients. Cover the wind. Put it in that way. Ooh, I lost a little. Go. Draper. It'll be coming within the next week to 2 weeks, I would say. Could be sooner, could be later. Watch for my information on our website. If you get our email already from the farm, I always tell the emailers first, and then we'll post on Instagram and Facebook. The opening day of Draper. All right, I'm making nice sounds. All right, so tap out that dough a little bit, and then we have our wonderful blueberries. 1.5 cups. I thought, as I always do, more blueberries are better. So then I did almost 2 cups. Well, then my muffin was mostly blueberries. So I will make a nice little tasty bite every once in a while. It's okay. So I'd say 1.5 to 1 3/4 cups of blueberries. All right, and then just kind of fold those in so that they're evenly distributed. And we're getting very close. Now, for the sake of the video and time today, we are not going to sit here for half an hour waiting for this to rest. But this recipe is not the only place that I have seen the suggestion that you let your dough rest for half an hour. And I think that it's probably to get the baking soda, baking powder, flour, and gluten, everything to sort of activate. And it makes a real nice muffin. So I might just do that in the pan. But for right now, we're going to scoop them right in. So right now is when you would set your timer in your home for half an hour and just let that dough rest. Not stir it when you get done either. Let it rest. Did I miss anything on my... While it's sitting for half an hour, though, then you can make your crumb. It'll sit for a little bit. Push that aside. And for the crumb topping, we have 6 tablespoons of melted butter. I'm going to do that right in here. And it's interesting that this has cornstarch in it. I should have done a little bit more research about that because it's kind of a funny little crumb paste topping that you put on the top. But very delicious. So, keep me accountable, people. Now we need our 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 1/4 cup of white sugar, and I suppose you could experiment with some sugars too, because some people like to use like monk fruit sweetener, those kind of things. Just give it a try. And I've got my fork. I'm going to combine the sugars with the butter. Just get a nice little slurry going. Can you see from the crowd? And this one it says salted butter. So, give that a try, salted or unsalted, whatever you prefer. And then, to that, just kind of thicken it up, it's a 1/2 cup of flour into that. So it makes kind of a paste to put on top, which is funny. And then 2 tablespoons of cornstarch adds to your paste. Let's see if I can blow in the wind. There we go. Stir those together. And we will be ready to assemble. Pretend that the half hour has flown by, my friends. And I think I'm going to use my little scraper here to combine it even better. Delicious. Oh, I've got a few other events to tell you about while I'm stirring and scooping. One is August 8th is our annual Farmland 5K right here, starting by the picnic shed, going around the blueberries and around the hazelnuts. You do not have to run. I only run if I'm being chased. You can walk. Like, there are a lot of walkers that enter it. And everyone that's been in it seems to like it because you're not just running the same scenic, route. You get to run by the blueberries and by the river, the Stillaguamish River right down there. And you get to run around the hazelnut field. So that's coming up soon. It's a lot of fun. And then in August, on the 13th, some of you might be grandparents. We're having a Bring Your Grandkids to Pick Blueberries Day. And we're going to have a face painter here. Oh, do we have my All right. We get our paper in there and a scoop. This is how I do it. It basically works. I've got one of these kind of cookie release scoops that is like the size of an ice cream scoop, and it fits pretty perfectly for 12 muffins. So pretend I've done that. And then this up top, and I just scoop up that tablespoon with a spoon and crumble it over at the top of each one, all 12 of them, and it's ready to go. And so it works just perfectly around there. If there's a little extra at the end, spread it out evenly, and then it goes in the oven at that high temperature of 425 for 5 minutes. Then after the 5 minutes, don't open the oven or anything. Just turn it down to 375 and set your timer for 15, give or take. I have 2 different ovens that I use, the barn and the house, and it took a little longer in the barn this time. But don't worry about it. But yours, test it, and it does work. Use a toothpick and test them out, and then you have beautiful muffins. I had thought about trying some little seasonings in it too. You could try like cinnamon in the topping, and they have